Sisters, Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, as you heard, there is a lot of people coming. We do need to make some extra space, so if you can, just comply with some of the volunteers, what they're asking, and if you can come forward, stand up, it makes a lot of difference, honestly, if you do stand up and come forward instead of just shuffling. And if you can put your shoes, the bags of shoes, if you can put them on your lap, it just makes that extra bit of space. Jazakallah khair. Brothers, there's also some space on the left. If you're coming in, there's space on the left for you to fill. We want to try and make sure that we can keep the right-hand side and the back as clear as possible for any people that do come in towards the end of the recitations before the majlis starts. And if I can ask everyone to just find a seat and settle down and recite another loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
मौला अब्बास के हवाले से मुनाजात के चंद अशार आपके समातों के नज़र पेश खिदमत है। एक सलवात पढ़ दीजिए मोहम्मद व आल मोहम्मद पर। अब्बास अब्बास या बल फज़लिल अब्बास 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 या बल फज़लिल अब्बास सक़ाए हरम रख लेना भरम हम दर पे तुम्हारे आए हैं तुम भी नहीं हमको ठुकराना तुम भी नहीं हमको ठुकराना हम दुनिया के ठुकराए हैं। मिलके पढ़ें अब्बास अब्बास या बल फज़लिल अब्बास बुलंद आवाज़ में अब्बास अब्बास या अब्बास अब्बास या बल फज़लिल अब्बास अब सारे सहारे टूट चुके हमें अपने पराए लूट चुके अब सारे सहारे टूट चुके हमें अपने पराए लूट चुके तुम अपनी पनाहों में ले लो तुम अपनी पनाहों में ले लो हम गम से बहुत घबराए हैं बुलंद आवाज़ में अब्बास अब्बास या बल फज़ अशकों की ज़बां पहचानते हो अरे जो दिल में है वो जानते हो अशकों की ज़बां पहचानते हो जो दिल में है वो जानते हो हम कह नहीं सकते तुम सुन लो हम कह नहीं सकते तुम सुन लो बस हाथों को फैलाए हैं अब्बास अब्बास या बल फज़लिल अब्बास हर सूनी गोदी खिल जाए हर बेटी को रिश्ता मिल जाए हर सूनी गोदी खिल जाए हर बेटी को रिश्ता मिल जाए उन चेहरों को रौनक दे दो जो गम के सबब मुरझाए हैं। मिलके पढ़े, अब्बास अब्बास या बल, हाँ सकाए हरम रख लेना भरम, हम दर पे तुम्हारे आए हैं। और मौला 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 तुम बाबे हवाइज हो, रोजे पे उन्हें भी बुलवा लो। अरे मौला तुम बाबे हवाइज हो, रोजे पे उन्हें भी बुलवा लो। गुर्बत के सबब जो आ न सके, गुर्बत के सबब जो आ न सके, हम उनके अरीज़े लाए हैं। अब्बास अब्बास या बल फज़लिल अब्बास, अब्बास अब्बास या बल फज़लिल अब्बास। सकाए हरम रख लेना भरम, हम दर पे तुम्हारे आए हैं। तुम भी नहीं हमको ठुकराना, तुम भी नहीं हमको ठुकराना, हम दुनिया के ठुकराए हैं। बर मोहम्मद वाल मोहम्मद बुलंदतर सलावत। बारे दिगर नारा सलावत। काश अब्बास न मारे जाते, काश अब्बास न मारे जाते, काश अब्बास न मारे जाते, काश अब्बास न मारे जाते। और दोनों बाजू वो शहनशाह वफा के थामे, लाश अब्बास पे शब्बीर बुका करते थे। भाई तुम बाद हमारे जाते, काश अब्बास न मारे जाते। और इस तरह लगती नाक बर के कलेजे में सना, इस तरह होती न सादात के खैमों में फुगा, यूं न सरनेज़ों पे सारे जाते। काश अब्बास न मारे जाते। और होते अब्बास दिलावर तो न खैमे जलते, शाम गुर्बत ना सकीना को तमाचे लगते। अरे गोशवारे ना उतारे जाते। काश अब्बास न मारे जाते और होते अब्बास तो छिनती नारदा ज़ैनब की पाँव में आबिद मुज़तर के न बेड़ी डलती ताज़ियाने भी न मारे जाते काश अब्बास न मारे जाते और कभी चेहरा कभी बाजू कभी सीना पीटा कैद खाने से वतन आई तो ज़ैनब ने कहा यूं न यूं गम में गुजारे जाते काश अब्बास न मारे जाते और आज भी आती है ये कब्र सकीना से सदा ऐ चचा लाती न जिंदान में यूं हमको क़ज़ा साथ घर हम भी तुम्हारे जाते काश अब्बास न मारे जाते काश अब्बास न मारे जाते काश अब्बास न मारे जाते बर मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद बुलंदतर सलावत
Thank you to our dear brother Muhammad Abbas Kareem for once again a beautiful eulogy recitation. And if you can thank him once again with the loudest salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Inshallah, before I invite the Sayyid onto the minbar for his lecture, as you can see, the hall has filled up quite quickly in the last 5 to 10 minutes. So I will make one last push for some space. There's a lot of space on the stage in front of me. And I think in the sisters section as well, there's pockets of space. So with the loudest salawat, if you can all once again get up and come forward, and we would much greatly appreciate it. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There's a lot more space, brothers. Please, if you can come forward. Jazakumullah khair. We ask you now, obviously, to move forward, to make that space, to minimize the disruptions during the lecture, to avoid the extra movement, to having people shuffle around. So if you can comply with us at the start, then inshallah we can have a smooth majlis going forward. Jazakumullah khair. Just a quick note on parking. I mentioned it earlier at the start of this program. But now that there is a few more people here, I'd like to mention it again. We have had quite a few incidents, almost every night actually, where there has been a few people who have parked inappropriately, who've parked blocking driveways, who've parked on corners. We do have volunteers going around in the many streets around us and in the car park, checking for people who have parked without being mindful of the neighbors. And you might have noticed as well throughout the lecture, throughout the program, we have announced on the screens for certain people to move cars. So to avoid that, obviously, if you can just be mindful about how you park. And if you can't find any parking, don't force yourself into spaces. We do have a car park as well, which is fully manned, secure, and it's only a 2-minute walk. So if you can use that parking, that car parking area, we will greatly appreciate it, and inshallah we won't have any further incidents. Tomorrow, inshallah, after the program, after Maghrib, we will have a Q&A session with Sayyid Ammar. We've had a few posters coming out on our social media. If you haven't already seen it, this is another official announcement that tomorrow after the program, if you would like to stay behind, we will have a Q&A session with Sayyid Ammar. So keep that in mind. And then last thing, before I do invite the Sayyid on, and I mentioned it in the last few nights as well, try and minimize your movements, try and minimize your noise as much as possible. We've had a few incidents over the last couple of nights where we've had people moving around. I do specifically ask the brothers, especially the ones that are in this middle section, that are in front of the camera. It does get in front of the camera during recording. Obviously, this goes live stream online on our channel and Dr. Sayyid Ammar Nakshawani's channel as well. So if you can try and avoid movement as much as possible, I know if you need to go to the bathroom, we can't stop that. But any other unnecessary movement, if you can limit that as much as possible, Jazakumullah khair. And one last thing as well, in terms of recording on your personal devices, on your phones, if you can not do that at all, that's a personal request from us, the organization, and from the Sayyid as well. No recording on your personal devices. As I mentioned, we are recording it. It's live streamed. It goes on YouTube. And if you want to watch the lectures back again, then they are available. So no recording on your phones, please. Last point before I invite the Sayyid on. Tonight's program and tonight's majlis is sponsored in full by the Bayati family. And I've been asked for you all to recite Al-Fatiha for the marhumeen, specifically Hamid, Hadi, Hassan, Fatima, and Safiya from the Bayati family. So if you can recite Al-Fatiha. And without further ado, inshallah, I can now invite our dear speaker for another invigorating lecture for tonight. If you can invite Dr. Sayyid Ammar Nakshawani to the mimbar with the loudest of salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. الثاني على حب الزهراء. الثالثة على حب الحسن والحسين.
Just come in a little. Just come in a little. Come in. Ya Rasul. اللهم صل على اللهم صل على محمد وآله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. اللهم صل على الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، اللهم لعن بني أمية قاطبة. The first of our loud salawat in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The second louder salawat in honor of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Third, with your loudest voices, in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asri wal-Zaman. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Respected scholars, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. The Bani Umayyah have had a recent revival. All of a sudden now, they are the glorious Bani Umayyah, the great Umayyad dynasty. The dynasty that produced the most wonderful Muslims and had the best Islamic state. Indeed, that's certainly what we're hearing from Shaam these days. All of a sudden, after Jilani came in, there was suddenly a movement to not only talk about one's freedom or one's ability to practice, but also at the same time to talk about the greatness of Bani Umayyah. All of a sudden, people were talking about being Ahfad Bani Umayyah, from the descendants of Bani Umayyah and the grandchildren of Bani Umayyah. And this caused some shockwaves, not only in the Shia community, but also for non-Shia. Because in the Sunni world, there has always been a contentious debate about just how glorious Bani Umayyah is. Muawiyah, Yazid, Muawiyah son of Yazid, Marwan, Abdul Malik bin Marwan, Sulaiman bin Abdul Malik, Walid bin Abdul Malik. All of these leaders of Bani Umayyah, are they to be glorified because they were leaders of Islam at one point or another? Or can a person look at them in a negative manner? In the Sunni world, it was always a subject of debate, because you found that amongst the contentious issues for the Sunni world was that Muawiyah was a Khalifa. Muawiyah was someone who led the religion of Islam for over 20 years. He is the one who built the Umayyad dynasty. But if he is a companion of the Prophet as well as a Khalifa, can a person question any of his actions or not? Likewise, the rest of the actions of Muawiyah's sons and then the Marwanid dynasty always raised a number of debates within the Sunni world. That's why, as much as the Sunni world tries to show you that they all agree on the same history and they all agree on the same understanding of history, you'll find that they could differ quite significantly. Some of them, for example, when they looked at Yazid of Bani Umayyah, some of them said there's no problem doing la'na on Yazid. Yazid, with the crimes that he committed, he deserves to have the la'na. So it's not just the Shia who do la'na on him, but rather we should as well. Others, like Ghazali, they wanted a permanent ban on anyone who does la'na on Yazid. Why? Allah only knows. He only came forward and banned also the maqtal of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Ghazali, who people praise as Shaykh al-Islam and the spiritual Sufi master, was the one who banned the maqtal of Imam al-Hussein and also banned the cursing on Yazid. So in the Sunni world, you had some who had a debate on this issue. Bani Umayyah should be praised or not. In my own years giving majalis, only since Shaam fell have I ever seen Bani Umayyah glorified by the Sunni world. In all my years giving lectures, I never came across anyone who even made a latmiyah on the greatness of Bani Umayyah, made a nawha in honor of Bani Umayyah. I don't know if some of you have seen on Instagram or on TikTok, you'll see that there is now a trend, Jayin ala Karbala. You've seen it or no? Yes? You see someone who goes up and he starts doing a latmiyah and he warns Khomeini and others and so on and so forth that we're on our way to Karbala. You couldn't be more Umayyad than that statement. The problem is that even the Sunni world, some will look at that and say, hold on, you're on your way to Karbala, which means you are wanting to be a mirror image of Yazid. And so some are surprised, even though some of us are not, in all honesty. Because when you saw the behavior of some of these, ISIS and their friends, it's not too dissimilar to the behavior of Yazid and his friends. But the debate is also a raging debate. Why? The Umayyads, they spread the religion of Islam far and wide. Umayyads at one moment were in North Africa, the next in Spain. As you know, in the academic world, many of the most famous Orientalists and many of the most famous academics, they've all written on Bani Umayyah. If I go to Waterstones today to look for a book in town on Imam Ali alayhi salam, I'm not going to find one. I can put money on it that I will not find one. But if I look for a book on the Umayyad dynasty, I can show you 7 that will probably be on sale in town in the bookshop by the likes of Stephen Humphreys, Gerard Horting, Hugh Kennedy, Patricia Croner, Martin Hines, and others. Because the academic world, it's not interested Ali is right or Muawiyah is wrong. It's interested in dissecting how history develops. Also at the same time, the greatness of a dynasty. How do you view a great dynasty? Some people will say the greater the architecture, the greater the dynasty. There are some people who don't care if a dynasty massacres people. Have they built nice buildings? Have they built libraries? Have they built the Umayyad Mosque in Shaam, which is one of the greatest architectural masterpieces? Al-Insan, when he verifies what is a great dynasty, your conclusion on what a great dynasty is may be somewhat different from the lenses that they're using. I may look at a great dynasty if economically it was good. I may look at a great dynasty if politically it was sound. You may look at a great dynasty if they built great buildings. Others may look at administration. Therefore, in the non-Muslim eyes, Bani Umayyah, Bani Abbas, and all of them, they are glorious dynasties. We look at it with our lens, but in their lens, the Umayyads, they spread expansionism. Islam went far. Spain became Muslim. Morocco became Muslim. Cyprus became Muslim. The Muawiyah made sure that there were ships that were sailing in the seas. So what is your problem with Bani Umayyah? So you have a double resurgence of Bani Umayyah. One part of the resurgence is where? Is ISIS and Jawlani and the Jabha and all of them saying that احنا جايين على Karbala and that we are the followers of Muawiyah and the children of Muawiyah. And the other resurgence is academically. The more you produce books on Bani Umayyah, the more Bani Umayyah are glorified. What is our take on the Umayyads? Ultimately, most Shia, if you ask them, what's your opinion on the Umayyads? Automatically, the Shia answers negatively. Automatically, the Shia will say, I hate them. And I mentioned to you what I just read in the Faqara from Ziyara. Allahumma al'an. Who? Banu Umayyah qatibat. Oh Allah, la'na comes from Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. Ziyarat Ashura is from Imam al-Baqir. When we read Ziyarat Ashura, it is not from some random. Imam al-Baqir is the one who authored Ziyarat Ashura. Imam al-Baqir does la'na on the whole of Bani Umayyah. And therefore, when I look at it, I say, I therefore hate Bani Umayyah. But someone says, hold on, you hate them, but they converted to Islam. And if someone converts to Islam, then their past is deleted. And if someone the Muslims admire, if our Sunni brothers, like those speakers I mentioned to you yesterday, the Instagrammable speakers, these guys, whether it's this Yasmin or Omar or Mufti, all of these, they will all, when they say Muawiyah's name, say, Radiyallah an. You follow them on Instagram. Say, Muawiyah radiyallah an. May Allah be pleased. So someone says, well, you Shia, you are the ones who are the cause of fitnas. If you just let things go, تلك أمة قد خلت لها ما كسبت ولكم ما كسبتم. If you let everything go, then we will move on. But you have to focus Bani Umayyah, Muawiyah, Yazid, Majalis, Muharram, Karbala, Ziyara, Ashura. Let us tonight open the file of the glorious Umayyad dynasty, so that we see the nonsense that was produced and all of the rubbish that emerged from this dynasty, and how ultimately the more hate you have for Ali, the easier a chance for you to be a member of this dynasty. I'd like to do this in the following stages. Number one, originally, what was their main role in the Quraysh, Bani Umayyah? Number two, when did all of them suddenly decide that they'll become Muslims? And why is there a huge question mark on their Islam? Number three, which Khalifa gave them big power? Why did he have to give them so much authority? Was there a connection between him and them? Number four, which famous Khalifa, because of them, one may argue, got killed? And why did he get killed? Number five, if Imam Ali is a rightly guided Khalifa, so when Bani Umayyah fight him, both go to Jannah? And how many of these Muslims who fought each other were butchered? Number six, when we say la'na on all of Bani Umayyah, isn't la'na something bad? Shouldn't we be lovey-dovey Muslims? Number seven, why would Imam al-Baqir do la'na? And what was his intention? Number eight, are there good people from Bani Umayyah? And those who are good, if there are good, does this contradict what Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam says when he means the whole of Bani Umayyah? And finally, what are the worst of the worst crimes of Bani Umayyah? And how did these crimes affect the grandchildren of Rasulullah on the day of Ashura? Let's examine this and dissect the topic in depth. Bani Umayyah, as you all know, were one of the main tribes in where? In the Quraysh. They were wealthy merchants. They were aristocrats, not just merchants. They owned a lot of property. And of course, by the way, these guys, they're all intermarried. Abu Sufyan, Hind. Abu Sufyan's sister Jamil, married to Abu Lahab. Hind's father, Utbah bin Rabi'a, staunch enemy of the Holy Prophet. So these guys, Abu Lahab, Abu Sufyan, and so on, all intermarried. Abu Sufyan, being the head of the Umayyads, all his cousins were the biggest enemies of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family. Name me the Quraysh, I'll show you Umayyad poison. Umayyad poison. Who, for example, from the Quraysh? Marwan, his father, Al-Hakam ibn al-As, Umayyad Sem. That is Sem walking. If poison became a human, then it would be Hakam ibn al-As. That's one of the nastiest, filthiest enemies of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him and his family. Who else? Walid bin Uqbah. Nasty, nasty, nasty piece of work. Again, Bani Umayyah. That's another one. And then, of course, you had Abu Sufyan and his wife Hind. These people, when the Prophet came with the message, these people were the most vicious enemies of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him and his family. There wasn't a day where they didn't order for animal feces not to be thrown on his head when he was in sujood. يعني imagine أرأيت الذي ينهى عبدا إذا صلى. Have you seen the one who disrespects our servant when he's in salah? The Prophet would be in sujood, they get the feces of an animal, they throw it all over his head. They would ask Jamil, Abu Lahab's wife, she would ask people throw stones on the head of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And these guys would sit and laugh. Amongst them, Al-As bin Wa'il. Al-As bin Wa'il, when the Prophet lost his baby boys, when the Prophet would walk past, he would shout at him, Abtar, Abtar, Abtar. Quran said, Inna shani'aka. Shani' is the most evil, worst enemy you can have. This Al-As bin Wa'il, Hakam ibn Al-As, Walid bin Uqba, Abu Sufyan, these were the most disgusting of the Jahil Arab Qurayshi. And they are the ones who raised armies to kill the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family. On the day of Badr, all of them had raised their army. The poor Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family, had only 313. They raised an army of how many? 950. They all came blowing their trumpets. And from there was a problem that emerged. On the day of Badr, two men annihilated them. Hamza bin Abdul Muttalib and Ali, son of Abu Talib. These two become a scourge for them. Why? Abu Sufyan, Hind, Hakam ibn al-As, Walid bin Uqba, they have a vicious animosity to a 24-year-old Imam Ali alayhi salam. Imam on the day of Badr was 24. Imam killed Hind's father. He got rid of her brother. Hamza got rid of the other. It remained deep inside her. And that's why what she did on the day of Uhud, Bani Umayyah, if they had a flag symbol, it was on the day of Uhud. Day of Uhud, she wasn't content with Hamza being killed. She wanted everything chopped up. And then, you know what the two hadiths are? One hadith is that she got Wahshi, you know Wahshi, this guy who the Sunni hadiths end up telling us at the end he asked for forgiveness and he became Muslim. That's nonsense. They made everyone, by the way, everyone who's bad ends up being malaika. No? This Wahshi, someone who cuts up someone's body, it's very rare for them to do tawbah properly. But I'm not closing that door. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِيَ الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. ولكن this Wahshi, this guy Hind said to him, and this is Bani Umayyah, Karbala is not a coincidence. When your mum is your role model in life, do you agree? Your mom and dad are role models. Even if they don't follow the same theology as you, morally, generally, they're your role models. I've seen converts whose parents are still Christian, but they have the best akhlaq in the world. But if your mom is a liver eater, what do you do? What do you do? She said to Wahshi, rip up his body. And this is Bani Umayyah now beginning to show what Bani Umayyah is. Rip up his body. He rips up the body. She either does one of two things. Choose his body, the liver, and then asks for a necklace to be made with it. This person, when they have this disgusting, vicious attitude, this person would continue to raise their sons like this. Hither to that point, on the day of Uhud, Muawiyah was not Muslim. Abu Sufyan was not. None of them. Afterwards, none of them. Until when? 5 years after Uhud. Someone say, Sayyidina, when did these guys convert then? I'm not understanding. Because if they were enemies, when did they convert? When did they do the Shahada? When did they bring them to the Mawlana so we could read the Kalima? When? They converted a couple of years before the Prophet died, when Mecca was opened. The moment the conquest of Mecca happened, you know, when the conquest of Mecca happened, the Prophet entered, Abu Sufyan, Hind, Muawiyah, all of these. And then there was a group of others, by the way. Sahel and Al-Agra and all of these. These were vicious enemies of the Prophet. When the Prophet entered, some of his Sahaba were like, let's go and kill all of our old enemies. Look at us now, we're powerful. Let's go and chop them up. Prophet said, no, wait. This is a day of mercy, not a day to go and kill everybody. Why? I don't want to lower myself to their level. I'm not going to look, because they'll then say, look, there's no difference between us and him. We tried to kill him, he killed us. So the Prophet said, today is a day of rahmah. Today is a day of mercy. The house of Abu Sufyan, if they want to come towards the religion, they can come towards the religion. The door is open. But there's only one problem with that conversion. What is the problem? The only problem with someone who converts on the day their city has been conquered is you don't know if they've converted because they believe in the principles of the religion or out of fear. Majmu' al-Fatawa, Ibn Taymiyyah says, الطلقاء, those who were freed on the day of the opening of Mecca, these people converted out of fear for their lives. Didn't convert because I believe this man's a prophet, I believe in his God. No. I've converted because of what? Out of fear. Because someone in the Sunni world would say, when someone has become a Muslim, that you guys should let go of the past. Habibi, if he became a Muslim on a random afternoon in Medina High Street, yes, random afternoon in Medina High Street, if he came to the mosque of the Prophet on a random afternoon and said, listen, I've been bad, I want to change, would you forgive me? I am opening and welcome this guy anytime. When the guy wants to convert because Islam has taken over the city of his dad, can I ever trust that guy's conversion? Never. That's why in Sunni thought, Baladhari narrates that Umar ibn al-Khattab did not believe al-Tulaqa who were freed on the day that Mecca was opened could become khulafa. Why? Because I don't know if inside they believe in the religion or they forcibly converted. It's like when someone, I've had experiences, two types of people when they want to marry someone in our community. They come up to me, they're like, Sayyidina, you know, I've met this brother, English brother in work, and he wants to convert. When I sit with the poor guy, there's two types of guys. There's one of them, I'm like to him, you want to convert? You understood the religion? He's like, I understood. Qadir, Jamal, Saqib. I'm like, my God, this guy has more knowledge than some of our people. Then there's always specimen number two. Why are you converting? He's like, tell you the truth, her dad, if I don't convert, is going to kill me. So that's the only reason. Otherwise, I don't even understand what's going on. And I'll make one appearance for her on this Eid dinner they have, and that's it. Yes. These two types of converts, there's a problem. One of them has entered the religion believing. The other is always going to be a danger. Because the other permeates into the religion. The other just has to find the right moment to then establish himself and bring back his father or mother's principles. True? That's why the companions used to be baffled with one thing. Many of you have read Surah 9, verse number 60. It's about sadaqah. إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم. Many times people ask me, Sayyidina, there's this group you give sadaqah to. Fuqara, yes, I know who they are. Masakin, okay, I know who they are. Who are the mu'allafati qulubuhum? In the translation, mu'allafati qulubuhum are those whose hearts are inclined to Islam. Can someone explain to me what does that mean? If your English friend asks you today, listen, bro, I want to ask you a question. In that verse of the Quran, what does heart inclined to Islam mean? مؤلفة قلوبهم. What does that mean? فقراء, I know هذا فقير. مسكين, I know مسكين. مؤلفة قلوبهم. Their hearts are inclined to Islam. Who are those people? Sadaqah should always go either to the poor or the needy, or the one whose heart may not have been cemented to the religion, but your financial support may in a way incline them to the religion, or at least prevent their evil from harming the religion. There are people, they convert to Islam. If you give them something small from the mosque, that person's nastiness or their doubts may be permeated, because whenever you give someone a donation, they calm down. After the Battle of Hunain, the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family, would give some of the shares to people like Abu Sufyan and Muawiyah and others. And the companions were like, why? For what reason? Ibn Taymiyyah discusses this. He says there were two groups of people that had to be looked after. Al-Tulaqa, who were freed on the day of the opening of Mecca, and the second group are who? The people of Najd. I'll leave Najd alone for tonight. The Tulaqa who are freed, they were given some share of the charity. Why are they given share of the charity? Why would you give share of the spoils to Abu Sufyan or to Muawiyah? Why? In Arabic, they say, there's sometimes even in Iraq, they say chafi shar. Yes? Chafi shar, what does it mean? Chafi shar, what does it mean? It means, he has so much shar, so much evil. I'll give him something just to shut the man down. Give him a little, the dog barks, just give him something small, stop barking. The companions were like, Prophet, Abu Sufyan, Ibn Taymiyyah says he's giving them, for which reason? For the reason that these guys, when they've converted to Islam, you're not sure that any second their nastiness could come back out. So keep looking after them. You're not going to understand the maslahah of what I'm doing. In other words, Muawiyah, Abu Sufyan, all of them, when the non-Shi'i tells you, yeah, but they became Muslim, bro, they're Sahaba. The problem is they didn't convert willingly. They converted because Mecca was conquered. Someone who converts to join the status quo is always a snake. Because you cannot trust that person. They are converting to save their life. Some people knew their colors from a mile away. Like who? Ali ibn Abi Talib knew their colors. He knew. These guys are snakes. You have to keep an eye because the snake can bite any second. Others knew, but they're related to them or they're their friends from the past. Especially Umar ibn al-Khattab and Uthman bin Affan. Who put Bani Umayyah in power? Who? Umar ibn al-Khattab has two decisions that affect society until today. I can give 50 decisions, but I'll stick to two tonight. One of them is what? Who brought the Jews back to Jerusalem? Umar ibn al-Khattab, when they conquered Jerusalem, it was only Christians. Umar said, welcome the Jews back. Umar said, welcome them back. The Jews were not in Palestine. Umar ibn al-Khattab said, bring them back. And there's Masjid al-Aqsa, all of them. Who built Masjid al-Aqsa? Who rebuilt it? Umar ibn al-Khattab. But these, the less I touch, the better, because they're not Instagrammable, these things. It won't get you followers. You have to go with the status quo with everybody else. Bani Umayyah's poison. You've seen in Palestine, there's this mosque with the big gold dome. There's all Umayyad nonsense, this place. I've seen Shia, they post, look, we have this huge dome of the rock, they call it, don't they? Who built that? Abdul Malik bin Marwan ibn al-Hakam. Shia say we have to, this mosque, wallah, this mosque will never welcome you or your mom. Umar ibn al-Khattab welcomed the Jews back to Jerusalem. So today when I see people protesting, I go ask the guy why. The second decision Umar made, he put Muawiyah in charge of 4 countries. Syria, Palestine, Lebanon, and Jordan. If you want to see where Muawiyah's grandchildren are, go visit any of those. A lot of Muawiyah's lovers are in those 4. Syria, when I'm seeing TikTok, someone is saying to me, Bani Umayyah is back. Amjad, Ahfad, Bani Umayyah. Oh, these are Muawiyah's grandchildren. Syria, Muawiyah's grandchildren. Palestine, Muawiyah's grandchildren. Lebanon and Jordan. This is where you'll find all his grandchildren. All of them are there. The biggest Bani Umayyah lovers, when they come out of course, if you give freedom, it comes out. If there's no freedom, then the person only wants food and drink. When the food and drink comes, then you'll see Muawiyah back up again. This Umar, he brings Muawiyah in 40 years before Karbala. He gives him carte blanche. You know, when you give someone a check, you say, make whatever you want. People are writing to Umar ibn al-Khattab. They're saying to him, Baba, this guy, this is not even Islam. He's made it like a monarchy. This is even the Roman, because Muawiyah and the Romans very close to each other. Muawiyah's wife, Yazid's mom, what is she? Muslim? What's Yazid's mom? Yazid's mom is Christian. Maysoon al-Kilabiyya. Christian Syrian. Yazid used to love his mom's side of the family. Music, no problem. Alcohol, no problem. So when the Shia comes and tells me that Yazid used to drink and listen to music, I'm like, yeah, but bro, his mom's Christian and he loves that side of the family. The only problem he had was he used Khilafah of Islam. If he had just stuck as a Christian, Muawiyah's wife, Christian. Maysoon. Muawiyah's doctor, Christian. Muawiyah's chief advisor, Sir John the Roman, Christian. Muawiyah's changing Syria, Palestine, Lebanon, Jordan. The Romans are having a field day. And the Jews are having a field day in Jerusalem. And Islam was spreading. He's doing this. They come to Umar. They say to him, Umar, listen, this guy is acting like the Romans. Umar ibn al-Khattab turns a blind eye, writes a letter. The guy continues to be in power. Umar dies. Uthman comes in. Uthman is Muawiyah's cousin. Uthman makes the biggest mistake you can ever make. What is it? Who did I mention at the beginning of this lecture were the enemies of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi? Walid bin Uqbah, Marwan ibn al-Hakam. What does Uthman do? He brings them all back as chief advisors of the Islamic State. Hold on. Hold the back pages 1 second. This third Khalifa is rightly guided. If he is rightly guided, it's like me, you know, sometimes we have misgivings even in the Iraqi government today. In the Iraqi government, when I see they employ someone, he was a Ba'athi general, and they make him foreign minister. So I'm like, what's going on? And I'm not saying every Ba'athi general must have been the worst guy in the world, but you, Uthman, these guys, Rasulullah called Walid Fasiq. Marwan ibn al-Hakam, the Prophet described him, lizard, son of lizard. Uthman, rightly guided Khalifa, brings these guys back. Now I wanted you to see how Karbala is about to shape up. Ali ibn Abi Talib is a 24-year-old, destroyed them at Badr, at Uhud, at Khandaq, at Khaybar, at Hunayn. These guys are now all slowly back in nice positions. Who do they want to get revenge for? So what do these guys do? Number one, Uthman gets killed. Uthman gets killed, why? Because he put these guys in. People were dismayed. This guy's a nepotist. He puts these Umayyads back in power. People came, eventually they start killing him. When they killed him, Imam Ali alayhi salam, the people came to Imam Ali and said, we want you to be Khalifa. Imam Ali turned around and he said, I don't want this Khilafah. They said, please. He said, okay, for justice I will do it. The moment he became Khalifa, Aisha woke up. Been asleep for 25 years. So what's going on? Said, Ali ibn Abi Talib became Khalifa. Said, what do you mean Ali ibn Abi Talib became Khalifa? Why have they chosen Ali ibn Abi Talib? Let's raise an army. Army where? Let's go all the way to Basra with an army. We go and kill Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ummul Mu'mineen. Yeah? Let's go and kill Imam Ali. They go there. Muawiyah is watching in the sidelines. This what I'm giving you is what leads eventually to the butchering. Aisha and Umar. Umar is the one who places Muawiyah. Aisha gives Muawiyah a precedent. What's that precedent? If I can fight Ali, then you can be more than welcome to fight Hassan or Hussein. One of the biggest deceptions in the Sunni world, you know what it is? Ijtahadat fa'akhtat. She done her ijtihad, but she made a mistake. So anyone can have ijtihad, and then anyone can raise an army, and then anyone could kill. And that's why when we despise Bani Umayyah, number one, we don't trust their conversion. Number two, we don't even trust that they were Muslim. They promoted Christianity more than they promoted Islam. Number three, more important than anything else, they fought the family of Rasulullah. How could you as a Muslim say an empire is glorious that raised 100,000 soldiers to fight Imam al-Hussein? Someone's like, no, wait. In Karbala, there wasn't 100,000. There was only 30,000. Who told you I was talking about Karbala? I'm talking 25 years before Karbala. In the Battle of Siffin, Umar bin Sa'ad and Ibn Ziyad had 30,000 soldiers against Imam al-Hussein in Karbala. Whereas Muawiyah had 100,000 soldiers against Imam al-Hussein in Siffin. People say la'na on Yazid because he raised an army to kill Imam al-Hussein. How about his father who raised triple an army? Where does the balance of justice in the Muslim when they watch this majlis of mine? You Muslim, did the Prophet not say and the companions not say, we would know a munafiq by their hate of Ali ibn Abi Talib? Isn't that true? This is Sunni hadith. Wallah, it's not a Shia hadith. Companions would say, if we wanted to know who's a hypocrite, we will know by their love or hate of Ali ibn Abi Talib. That was the clearest sign. When I say that Muawiyah is a munafiq, you say to me, why? I say, Baba, these Umayyads raised 100,000 people to fight Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam al-Hasan, Imam al-Hussein. And that's why. Let me be very clear about something. I did not see Allah with my eyes. I saw Allah with my aql. When I use my aql, I'm looking here and wondering, hold on a minute. What does a person have to do for them to be excommunicated from Islam? To fight the Prophet's son-in-law and his grandsons, who you say are his most beloved, and still you are to be respected. I don't know what else a person has to do. Wallah, I don't know what else. You know the Battle of Siffin? 100,000 versus 100,000. The battle itself, 3 months of negotiations and back and forth until there was a 3-day mad battle. You say glorious Bani Umayyah. Bani Umayyah are responsible for killing of Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Again, it baffles you. Sunni Islam, must respect Sahaba. Shia don't. Shia bad. Shia mushrik. Shia kafir. Let's go back. Sunni Islam must respect Sahaba. ... When Muawiyah fights them or kills them, he will still go to Jannah. Conclusion, Sunni Islam. I don't know. Wallah, I don't know. If someone today as a Shi'i says one word about Sahaba, you guys don't respect Sahaba. So if I raise 100,000 people to kill Sahaba, I'm radiyallahu an. Someone says, what do you mean? Imam Ali's army had some famous Sahaba. Who's the most famous Sahabi with Imam Ali? Ammar bin Yasir. Ammar bin Yasir, the Prophet said, Ammar taqtiluka al-fi'at al-baghiya. Ammar, you will be killed by the rebellious infidels. The Prophet would talk about the iman and the taqwa of Ammar. Go to any Salafi bookstore. In Manchester, you have a bookstore, by the way, called the Salafi bookstore. They just went straight to the point. You know what I mean? It's just like the Salafi bookstore. It's such a cool name, by the way. I'm thinking of popping in there, by the way. I want to see the books. It's actually, it's mad. I think they said to me it's on Claremont Road or Clarendon or something. The Salafi bookstore. Go in there. There's a nice book. Ammar bin Yasir, the Great Companion. I guarantee you, if you went to the guy standing at the till, the poor guy, said to me, this is Ammar. Who killed him? I said, brother, we don't talk about these things. Why? No, I want to talk. Let's talk. Be interesting to know who killed him. Muawiyah radiyallahu anh killed Ammar radiyallahu anh. You smash your head on the wall. Wallah, I don't know what you do. Muawiyah radiallahu anh killed Ammar radiallahu anh. Inshallah, they'll all go to Jannat radiallahu anh. Glorious dynasty. Today, if two Muslims fight each other, say, brother, fitna, fitna. 100,000 versus 100,000 is acceptable. Glorious dynasty. Your forthrightly guided Khalifa, they're fighting him, looking to kill him. That's glorious. That's glorious dynasty. Bani Umayyah, the one you're proud of. Ammar bin Yasir is near his 90s or approximately in his 90s. He lived with the Prophet. He's one of the earliest converts. He didn't convert on the day of Mecca when you and your mom and dad had nothing else to do. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. A man who converted so young, he saw his mom Sumayya and his dad Yasir butchered in front of him as the first shuhada in Islam, the first two martyrs in Islam. That man ends up with Hind's son. I'll never forget something. Ammar, when he died, Muawiyah's army, they said, oh my God. Ammar died. So yeah, I said, we're wrong. We're all wrong. I want to show you the deep hatred. We're all wrong. So someone's like, what do you mean? I said, the Prophet praised Ammar. We're wrong. We messed up. Do you know what's the saddest thing about that whole conversation? Fighting Ali is no problem. I can't decide for haqq and batil. Only because Ammar died, oh, we're wrong. So Ali ibn Abi Talib has no fada'il. It's because your madhab is built on the rejection of Ali at Saqifa. So you dominoes keep rejecting. Ammar bin Yasir killed at Siffin. Glorious dynasty. A Sahabi is killed by their glorious leader. That's a glorious Bani Umayyah. That's the riff-raff of what they do. Who else was killed on the day of Siffin? Khuzaymah bin Thabit al-Ansari. Khuzaymah was known as Dhul Shahadatain, the man of two witnessing. Yes, you all know his story. I've said it in many majalis. He was killed as well. Others were killed. Why? Bani Umayyah, the glorious dynasty that built architecture and had administration and economic policy and fiscal policy. They've killed half of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But because they have architecture, they are glorious. Bani Umayyah killed Sahaba, number one. Bani Umayyah harassed Sahaba. Abu Dhar al-Ghafari was kicked out of Shaam by Muawiyah because of him speaking out against Muawiyah. And you all know, how did Abu Dhar die? Abu Dhar died alone in the desert with no one around him. Bani Umayyah killed Sahaba, harassed Sahaba, cursed Sahaba. How many times as Shia do we see online, you guys curse the Sahaba? So when Muawiyah orders the pulpits to curse Ali, that's not cursing Sahaba. Go to Bukhari and Muslim, read the hadiths. All you have to do is type, curse Abu Turab. Muawiyah and the grandchildren of Muawiyah order people to curse Imam Ali. Anta ya Sunni, ya Habibi. Anta, you say Imam Ali is your forthrightly guided Khalifa. If Bani Umayyah are cursing him on their pulpits, how do you have any respect for these people? How? How? Unless deep down you don't like Imam Ali. Unless Jamal could not have happened unless someone doesn't like Imam Ali. Siffin could not have happened unless someone doesn't like Imam Ali. The grandchildren of these people are there. Killed Sahaba. If the Shia did that, Shia kafir. Harass Sahaba. If the Shia did that, Shia kafir. Curse Sahaba. If the Shia did that, the Shia kafir. Fought Sahaba. Ibn Abbas, they call him Habr al-Ummah, the ink of the Ummah. Ibn Abbas, the ink of the Muslim Ummah, the scholar of the Ummah. Ibn Abbas was with Muawiyah or Ali at Siffin. The glorious dynasty that the Khalifa asks Imam al-Hassan's wife to poison him. That's glorious. That a Khalifa bribes a wife so that she kills the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's glorious. Further than that, when you say to me glorious dynasty, a dynasty that was responsible for the rape of women in Medina. You know, after Karbala, 2 years, within a year after Karbala, 2 years after Karbala, Yazid ordered his soldiers to go to Medina and rape the ladies of Medina. If you want to research further on the raping of women in Medina after Karbala in an incident called the incident of Harra, Harra, Waqi'at al-Harra, Yazid Bani Umayyah, glorious Bani Umayyah, as they say now in Hama and Idlib and all of these areas, they say the glorious Bani Umayyah, which ordered for the Kaaba to be catapulted. Yazid ordered that the Kaaba is catapulted in Waqi'at al-Harra. Read on Waqi'at al-Harra. If anyone tells you, you know what, Karbala, I'm not sure. Look at Waqi'at al-Harra. They raped women. They had dogs urinate all over the mosque of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi in Medina. Then they catapulted the Kaaba. Another question. If Bani Umayyah are so loved, why would Bani Abbas, also Muslims, take over Bani Umayyah? If it was such a glorious dynasty that lasted close to 90 years, Bani Umayyah were overthrown by who? Who overthrew Bani Umayyah? The Abbasids. The Abbasids are Muslims. The Umayyads, you say, are glorious. Why would one dynasty overthrow the other if the other is the most well-behaved, pious, muttaqi, akhlaq dynasty? It's because it reached a stage they were swimming in swimming pools of alcohol, literally. They had swimming pools of alcohol, by the way. Imagine having a swimming pool of alcohol. They would in some cases not come to the mosque because they'd be sleeping with all their maidens. They had monkeys everywhere in their palaces, drinks everywhere. If Bani Umayyah is such a glorious dynasty, like you're saying, Jayin ala Karbala, because we are the Umayyads. You are the sons of people who are known as being far away from the ethics of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Someone asked the question, when we said la'na on Bani Umayyah, should we say la'na on Bani Umayyah, number one, in Ziyarat Ashura? Many of us here, we read Ziyarat Ashura, don't we? How many of you read Ziyarat Ashura? It's a must for us. And we come to that line, Allahumma la'an, Bani Umayyah qatibatan, and people ask this question, that should we do la'na on them? Yes, of course we should. La'na is a dua asking Allah to withdraw His mercy. Some of you in the crowd, by the way, sitting here, may have family members who say, I don't do la'na. Some of you maybe here. You might have a sister of yours who's like, I don't do none of that stuff. I believe in love and peace and harmony. I don't do, as if doing la'na means no love and peace and harmony. Says, I do not believe in la'na. So why? Says, la'na, it means that I'm showing hate. Islam was akhlaq and peace, and Rasulullah was peaceful man, and he was giving out gifts to everyone. And so, we do not do la'na. That same person, I've seen them in the last year do la'na on Netanyahu. La'na on him. La'na her. La'na. He's a proud. La'na. I hate him. I wish he dies. La'na. Okay, wait. What's this? Why are you doing la'na? I thought religion, peace, love, peace. So no, I hate him. So why do you hate him? So because he hurts people, and anyone who hurts people, la'na on them. Wait, let's go back a little bit here. So Netanyahu, la'na on him, and the one who hurt the grandchildren of Rasulullah, no? I've seen Iraqis, by the way. They say, la'na on Saddam. But I don't believe in la'na. La'na on Saddam. La'na on Saddam. I said, why you do la'na on Saddam? Why? He said, Saddam killed lots of people. But hold on. These guys killed the grandchildren of Rasulullah. You don't do la'na on them. No, religion is about peace. If I love truth, I hate falsehood. And if I love justice, I hate injustice. If I love Muhammad and Al Muhammad, I hate their enemies. I don't say Allah will judge their enemies. No, 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 no. I hate them. They killed not a social justice Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. They killed the pure lights on earth. Karbala is not your social justice. Let's go out in the streets and wave a banner for a communist stroke, socialist stroke, justice movement. Karbala is the purest souls on earth that got killed. That person, when someone tells me, do you do la'na on them? Imam al-Baqir, you think doesn't know who to do la'na on? But someone said, but there were good of Bani Umayyah. So you cannot say all of them were bad. So how comes Imam al-Baqir does a full la'na on everyone? There's an answer to that question. In Bani Umayyah, who was good from Bani Umayyah? For example, Khalid ibn Sa'id ibn al-As, good, lover of Ahl al-Bayt. He's from Bani Umayyah, hardcore Bani Umayyah. Who else? Yazid's son Muawiyah. Yazid, killer of Imam al-Hussein. His son Muawiyah, he was a good person who said leadership should have gone to Imam Zayn al-Abidin, according to some narrations. Who else was good from Bani Umayyah? Muhammad bin Abi Hudayfa, solid. Umayyad, related to Hind, lover of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Khabith sometimes comes from Tayyib, and Tayyib sometimes comes from. Who else was good? Abdul Malik bin Marwan's son, Sa'ad. Abdul Malik is the one who built that Palestine big, massive gold dome rock, which everyone puts pictures of. Umayyad building. Abdul Malik, his son, Sa'ad al-Khair, very good. So someone said, but Imam al-Baqir said, la'na on all of Bani Umayyah. La'na on the members of Bani Umayyah. There's a condition in the same ziyarah. سَمِعَتْ بِذَلِكَ فَرَضِيَتْ بِهِ. If you heard about Karbala and you were with it and accepted what Yazid did, la'na on you. But if you heard about Karbala and you said, I do not accept what he did, and you are from Bani Umayyah, then you don't deserve that la'na. Because just because you're born into a family that is like that doesn't mean you can. Nabi Nuh's son was a kafir. So just because you are born into a religious family doesn't mean you'll come out religious. If you come born into a non-religious, doesn't mean you'll come out non-religious. So for us, therefore, the la'na on Bani Umayyah qatibatan is on those sami'at bidhalika faradiyat bih. They heard about the crimes against Imam al-Hussein in Karbala and they accepted it. However, those who did not accept it, and why did they not accept it? Why did they not? Why were these Umayyads, the four I mentioned, why did they not accept? Because they said, how could you butcher the grandchildren of Rasulullah? Not just butcher. What happened at Uhud was bound to happen again. It just needed the right environment for the snakes to come out. They converted. No one knows why. And then they all made sure they got revenge. Who said he got revenge? Yazid told Sayyidah Zainab. Sayyidah Zainab, when Yazid was in front of her, he said to her, Layta ashyakhi bi Badrin shahidu. I wish my ancestors from Badr were here today. What was he doing? Poking the mouth of Imam al-Hussein. Imam al-Hussein's head was next to him. Yazid got a stick and he started to poke the teeth of Imam al-Hussein. And while poking the eyes of Imam al-Hussein, imagine someone takes out the eyes of someone you love. Imagine that scene. Wallah, as Shia, I've seen all types of torture, all types of killings. Someone, Yazid is poking, but when he was poking, he said, Layta ashyakhi bi Badrin shahidu. I wish my ancestors from Badr were here. In other words, for him, what happened at Karbala, was revenge, finally, for Hussein's father. Waited a long time. Revenge, and that's why they didn't just kill in Karbala. They wanted to mutilate. Umayyads don't accept just shoot and let the guy die. No. Umayyads, their mother taught them, rip to pieces his body. Don't ever leave a trace of that body. make sure even if you take his arms, take the arms. See, I can kill somebody, shoot an arrow into their chest. But when I and my gang all come together to look for killing every way possible. You look in Karbala when Zuhair ibn al-Qayn was on the ground, he's dead, he's dead. They kept striking every part of his body so rip it into pieces. You look at others in Karbala, Qasim and Akbar and all of these, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Even if he's young and he's on the ground, keep hitting and hitting and hitting so that mutilate. For goodness sake, Imam al-Hussein, beheaded. And then after beheading him, they tell their horse riders, get your horses and trample all over his body. Yeah, but he's dead. He's dead. And not enough. Our mother taught us at Uhud, not enough that a body is there. What is only sufficient for us is that every limb is cut. And that's what broke Zainab's heart and the heart of Imam al-Hussein when Abbas bin Ali went to the Furat. Allah, Allah. Because they had wanted to get all of Imam Ali's sons out of their hatred for Imam Ali. The symbol of his sons was Imam al-Hussein. Imam al-Hussein looked at them and said, what have I done wrong to you? And they said, we want revenge for your father. Even if you've done nothing wrong to us, we want revenge for your father. Imam was the symbol of Imam Ali's sons. But Imam also had other sons in Karbala. And when one by one the sons of al-Baneen had all gone out to fight, and they all fought valiantly, Abu al-Fadl as well had fought a couple of times in Karbala. Abu al-Fadl had fought until they were there together. And there you had the master and his servant. An Imam and his younger brother and his servant. And there is no Imam like Abu Abdullah. And there is no servitude like Abu al-Fadl. Abu al-Fadl is not, his musibah is not just the way he dies. The musibah is that the earth lost Abu al-Fadl in his early 30s. That's a musibah, my dear brothers and sisters. Sometimes you don't even need to read someone's musibah. The musibah, I remember, may Allah bless the soul of Ayatollah Sibawayh. Ayatollah Sibawayh was asked by someone to read a musibah, Masa'ib. He was a great scholar, but he wasn't someone on mimbar. He was, a jurist. And so someone said to him, read Masa'ib, please. He said, look, I don't do Masa'ib. The lecturers do Masa'ib. I sit and listen and cry. So they said to him, but Maulana, you are a grand scholar. We want to hear you do Masa'ib. He said, you want me to read Masa'ib for you? So they said to him, yes. He said, simple. Zainab entered the court of Ibn Ziyad. He stopped. He said, there's no bigger musibah. Zainab entered the court of Ibn Ziyad. He said, if you ponder on that, you will never stop crying. Likewise for me, the biggest musibah is that Abu al-Fadl died 33 years of age. I live older than Abu al-Fadl. It's haram. This is wrong. Abu al-Fadl dies young. No Shi'i compared to Abu al-Fadl. The best Shi'i, the best follower of Imam Ali was Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. The best servant of Imam al-Hasan and al-Hussein was Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. And that's why I don't know which maqatil you take. The maqatil all give us different stories. But you know, one of the most famous conversations, and you hear them on the pulpits, where he tells him, give me my chance to go out now, please. And Imam al-Hussein does something which, in my opinion, elevates Abbas higher than what he would have done had he just simply gone out and fought. Imam al-Hussein wants to show what an angel Abu al-Fadl is. How do you show what an angel Abu al-Fadl is. How do you show it? You tell him to go out and fight, he is like the rest of the fighters. But if you tell him, let's go out together, we'll fight whoever gets in our way, and whoever gets to the water first, bring some water back for these children. Abbas straight away. They both came out together. Imam got attacked. Abu al-Fadl continued. He got to the Furat. His brother is back in the tent. And he's by the Furat. What crime has he done? He just wants to bring water back because there's a 3-year-old crying al-atash. That's it. A 3-year-old girl, 4-year-old, a 6-month-old baby, no one can even hear cry anymore. That's how thirsty the baby became. You don't even know if the baby was alive or dead now. Yes? Man just wants to bring some water, and he faces the biggest test in his life. Imagine. He sees this water of Karbala, and his nafs is saying, drink. Your nafs will tell you to do things in this world. We try our hardest to block our nafs when it tells us to do something bad. And he looks, and he's looking at the water, he wants to drink, and then he's like, Ya nafs. Ya nafs min ba'd al-Husayn huni. Oh nafs, how can you drink water? يا نفس من بعد الحسين هوني وبعدهما كنت أن تكوني هذا الحسين وارد المنون وتشربين بارد المعين. He says, oh nafs, how can you drink this water? After Imam al-Husayn's death is humiliation. How dare we drink the syrup of water when my brother's about to drink the syrup of death? One of the most beautiful moments, wallah, my dear brothers and sisters, may Allah answer all of your hajat on this night. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam took the water from the tent of the Furat. He returned back towards the tent of Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam. As he was returning, all of a sudden someone came towards him. All of a sudden there was a group of them who surrounded him. He called out, لا أرهب الموت إذا الموت رقى حتى أوارى في المصالي تلقى نفسي لنفس الطهر الطاهر وقى إني أنا العباس أغدو بالسقى. He turned around, he was talking to himself. He said, I will not run away from death, even though death looks like it's approaching me, until I face all of them and I strike all of them. For my soul is sacrificed to the purest of souls. He continued to fight them one by one. And then all of a sudden a man came and struck the right arm of Abu al-Fadl. He called out, Wallahi inqata'tum yamini inni uhami abadan an dini wa an imamin sadiq al-yaqini. نجل النبي الطاهر الأمين. They took out the right arm of Abu al-Fadl, but Abu al-Fadl tried to hold the alam in his left arm. He tried to hold the flask of the water because Sukaina was in his eyes. He held on to the flask, and then all of a sudden a man came and struck the left arm of Abu al-Fadl. He called out, يا نفس لا تخشي من الكفار وابشري برحمة الجبار مع النبي السيد المختار قد قطعوا ببغيهم يساري. He tried to now hold the alam with whatever was there. He tried to hold that alam and hold the flask. And Sukaina asks her father, where's my uncle? And Zainab wonders why the alam is moving one way and the other. Abbas tries to hold on, and then Harmala strikes his eye with an arrow. He struck his eye with an arrow. All of a sudden, Abu Fadl fell from the horse. Normally, when someone would fall from their horse, they'd fall with their arms in front of them. Except Baneen's boy, he fell with no arms in front of him. All of a sudden, he called out, Aba Abdullah. He called out Ammar Abdullah. He wanted his big brother next to him. He wanted his imam next to him. They began to attack the body of Abbas. Blood was all over his eyes. Imam al-Hussein came near the body of his brother. Imam al-Hussein came near the body. He held the head of Abu al-Fadl. He placed it on his lap. When he placed it on his lap, Abu al-Fadl removed his head. Look at the loyalty towards an imam. He then took the head again and Abu al-Fadl removed it. He said to him, Abbas, why? He said, at this moment, you have my head. But in a moment, who'll take your head? The next conversation breaks our hearts. Imagine the two brothers next to each other. Imagine this scene, one of them talking to the other. I want you to all imagine that moment with your beloved. Imam al-Hussein looks to him and says, I have one thing to ask you. He said to him, what is it? He said, just for once call me your brother. You always call me master. Abbas looked at him and he said, Akhi Aba Abdullah. He said, Akhi Aba Abdullah. Touch my face one final time. He touched his face one final time. He then said, Akhi Aba Abdullah, don't take me back. I promise Sukaina water. I promise Zainab water. Imam al-Hussein went back to the tent. Zainab called out, where's my brother? Sukaina called out, had I known he wouldn't come back, I would never have even asked. Ayatollah Bahr al-Ulum narrates that we were reconstructing the grave of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas in Karbala. He says the builders came to me who were reconstructing his grave. They came and they said, Maulana, we have a question. He said, I said to them, what's your question? They said, you tell us Abbas was so tall that when Abbas sits on a horse, his feet touch the ground. He said, it's true. They said, but we've just rebuilt his grave. He said, and what did you find? They said, his grave is so small. He began to cry and he said, I wonder how many times they chopped the body of Abu al-Fadl when he died for his grave to be so small. When they all came back to Karbala on the Arba'een, the ladies all went to their beloveds, yes? Rabab went to the baby. Ramla went to her Qasim. The others went to their son. Zainab went to Abbas. She went to Abbas, the poets describe, where were you when they slapped your sisters? Where were you when they poked a spear into my waist? Where were you when Ruqayya called out, I don't want any food?
हमको पानी ना मिले तेरी खुशबू तो रहे तेरे बाद
बाजू ना कटे, चाहे मशकी साच दे, ये मगर हो ना सका तेरे बाजू हैं जुदा, मुझ पे है तशना लबी, तू ना आया गाजी। और आ गई शाम में अलम, लुट गए अहले हरम, हाय रेत पर जलती हुई हो गया ठंडा लम। अरे पुरसा देने के लिए मुझसे मिलने के लिए आ गए बाबा अली, तू ना आया गाजी। और कितनी बेबस थी बहन ऐ शहंशाह वफा, हाय नाम ले ले के तेरा, जब ये जालिम ने कहा नाज था जिस पे तुझे, अब बुलाओ ना उसे। और मैं रोती रही, तू ना आया गाजी। और क्या सकीना से कहूँ ऐ मेरे दिल के सुकून, हाय पानी के लिए बह गया सब तेरा खून, अब कोई आस नहीं, तू मेरे पास नहीं, रस्सी शानों में बंधी है, तू ना आया गाजी। और धूप में तू था शजर, तुझसे आबाद था घर, है बरहना मेरा सर, क्या नहीं तुझको खबर, ऐ अलमदार वफा, इस बहन को बाखुदा तुझसे ढारस थी बड़ी, तू ना आया गाजी। और एक अंतरा सुन लीजिएगा बस बतौर मसाइब। और कैद खाने में कज़ा जब सकीना को मिली, हाय दे के कुर्ते का कफन, बच्ची दफनाई गई, उस घड़ी नाम तेरा सूरत नादे अली, बस मैं दोहराती रही, तू नाया गाजी जब रिदा सर से जब रिदा सर से छिनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना करते हैं मातम हरम अब्बास का हो गया मरना सितम अब्बास का करते हैं मातम हरम अब्बास का हो गया मरना सितम अब्बास का